Dear Emre Shuikani, Executive Director of EIC, dear Ahmet Ismaili, Governor of the Central Bank of Kosova, dear Visar Pasharada, CEO of ProCredit Bank, dear Ivo Orov, Head of the EU Office in Kosova, dear Mr. Jiří Plesit, Head of DG NSB2 Unit at the European Commission, dear ambassadors, dear representatives of Kosovo's public institutions, dear members of the European Investors Council, private sector leaders, civil society representatives, academia, and dear guests, welcome to Pristina. Welcome to capital of a very thriving country, which looks forward to bring together ever better, ever more democracy and development. We commend the European Investors Council, ProCredit Bank, and all partners involved for convening this forum at a time when sustainability has become more than a priority. It is a condition for long-term security, competitiveness, and resilience. Today, Kosovo is facing a dual challenge: to ensure energy security today while preparing for a cleaner and more sustainable tomorrow. Our current reality is shaped by continued reliance on coal, but our direction is clear, and our commitment is firm. We are determined to keep pace with Europe's decarbonization agenda, not despite of constraints, but because of them. That is why we have started refurbishing our main coal power plant, improving efficiency and lowering emissions, while preparing the ground for a broader shift toward renewable energy and smart infrastructure. At KEK, our public energy corporation, for the first time since the construction of the Kosova B power plant more than 4 decades ago, we have launched a major modernization of the existing units alongside an expansion of generation capacity. This investment, 56.5 million euros, financed entirely by KEK, without loans or public debt, is a significant step towards energy security and public accountability. As a result, we expect an additional 15 megawatts of production capacity already in this year, 2025, and much more to come in coming years. This transition is not a goal in itself. It is not driven solely by environmental concerns, but also by economic necessity. Energy demand is rising globally, and in Kosovo we have witnessed a doubling of export in recent years, while the business turnout in the last 5 years of our private sector has increased by 76%. With higher production comes a greater need for secure and stable energy supply. The same holds true for our growing technology sector, which requires modern, reliable, and scalable energy infrastructure to thrive. As part of our legal obligations, energy regulators in Kosovo have liberalized the electricity market this year. While this step aligns us with European energy norms, it has resulted in increased electricity costs, particularly for manufacturers. As a government, we are responding with targeted support together with the Luxembourg Development Cooperation Agency, LuxDev. We're finalizing a new support scheme to help domestic producers adapt. This includes building insulation, photovoltaic solar systems for electricity production, solar thermal systems for water heating, battery storage for solar PV systems, and reactive power regulators to improve energy efficiency and reduce waste. These investments mean lower energy costs, improved competitiveness, and greater resilience for every business that produces in Kosovo. Over 90% of Kosovo's private sector consists of small and medium enterprises. These SMEs form the backbone of our economy, driving innovation, providing jobs, and building up community resilience. Yet they face real obstacles in the green transition. Lack of access to capital, uncertainty in regulations, limited technical resources. This must change, and this forum is a step in that direction. We want our SMEs to see sustainability not as a compliance burden, but as a competitive edge. As European markets evolve, Kosovo's businesses must be ready to meet new standards and see new opportunities, and we will be here to help you. That's why we are committed to launching tailored support instruments such as SME Net Zero Guide and CO2 Calculator, then introducing clearer policy incentives and roadmaps, supporting innovation in clean technologies, and strengthening partnerships between the public and private sector. Kosovo will not walk this path alone. We count on the collaboration of our European partners, our regional neighbors, our diaspora, and the international development community. Today's forum brings together knowledge, financing, and experience from across the region and beyond. We welcome lessons from Canada's clean energy transition and the expertise of those helping businesses navigate CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, electricity liberalization, and ESG innovation. Let me be clear, Kosovo is ready to contribute within its means and with the right partners to a fair, secure, and future-oriented green transition in the Western Balkans. The path ahead is complex but necessary. We're ready to do our part. To those building, producing, and investing in a sustainable future, Kosovo stands with you. Let us move forward together, responsibly, and with resolve.
Helping small and medium-sized enterprises transition to greener business models is key given Kosovo's economic model. Small and medium-sized enterprises represent 99% of all registered businesses and provide 75 to 80% of all jobs in Kosovo private sector. They play a key role in driving innovation and fostering social cohesion. While individually small, SMEs can collectively generate a significant carbon footprint. By adopting cleaner technologies, improving energy efficiency, and rethinking supply chains, companies can reduce their costs, enhance competitiveness, and both gain access to new markets and attract more quality foreign investments. Many European companies take into account environmental impact, worker mobility, and access to healthcare when deciding where to invest. The upfront costs of sustainable technologies can be high, and returns on investments is not immediate. It is encouraging that the authorities are planning to provide incentives to help businesses transition to greener business models. Globally, the energy sector relies too heavily on fossil fuels, challenging long-term sustainability. While we note the government's efforts to diversify energy sources, more action is needed in other important areas, such as waste management and treatment, and in promoting environmentally friendly mobility to reduce vehicle emissions. Decarbonization is essential for Kosovo to meet its international commitments, which the next panel is going to discuss later on. Integration and decarbonization of energy markets is also one of the 7 priority actions in the European Union Growth Plan. Kosovo has a great business potential. Ambitious companies, talented youth, and proximity to European Union markets. It needs to focus on its competitive advantages and support sectors with potential to increase exports and create jobs. The European Union stands ready to help Kosovo to meet these commitments. We are aligned with the objectives of reforming Kosovo's business environment, and we are already its largest investor and trade partner. The European Union has made its financial assistance available to Kosovo for many years, and recently increasingly making available its programs, such as EU Single Market Programme. The program provides vast opportunities for strengthening the governance of the internal market and supporting the competitiveness of industry. The European Union has approved the new growth plan for all 6 Western Balkan countries. Kosovo and other Western Balkan countries can have huge benefits from this new EU plan, pending implementation of reforms that are required from all. But for Kosovo to get this assistance, first the functioning parliament is needed to ratify the necessary agreements. For Kosovo and Serbia, there will be some additional conditions, the progress they make in the EU-facilitated dialogue. In this regard, free movement of goods, services, and workers feature highly in the growth plan. Thus, we encourage Kosovo to fully address the issues of ban on Serbian products as soon as possible. So, as you see, there are a lot of issues to be discussed, and I wish very much very encouraging and productive discussion for all of you today.
Dear Prime Minister Kurti, dear Ambassador Orav, head of the EU in Kosovo, dear ambassadors, Mr. Ruikani and Mr. Pacharada, the organizers, distinguished representatives of the public institutions, representatives of domestic and international institutions, dear speakers, panelists, dear guests, central bank colleagues, dear private sector and academia and civil society representatives. It is my pleasure to address you at the Sustainable Investment Forum, which focuses on one of the topics of the challenging times where uncertainties and non-conventional risks are rising, including climate risks and the challenges of transitioning toward a sustainable economy in line with ESG principles. This gathering marks an important moment to reflect on our institutional responsibilities, also to strengthen cooperation for a fair and sustainable transition toward a green economy. While there is an ongoing debate about the extent of the central bank's involvement, it is increasingly recognized that this is not merely an issue of environmental awareness. Climate change has become a source of systemic risks threatening financial stability and functioning of the markets and the long-term prospects of economic development and social welfare. Exposure to physical and transitional risk directly affects the performance and the quality of assets held by financial institutions, businesses, households, and the functioning of the financial markets. These risks are not just hypothetical. Floods, droughts, air pollution, and the decarbonization challenges of the energy sector are realities that increasingly impact citizens' lives and the financial capacity and solvency of businesses and individuals. Banks and other financial institutions will increasingly need to manage these risks and support the financing of the green transition. As climate change accelerates, so does it impact the financial stability and economic resilience. Banks are exposed to climate-related risks through their core activities, lending, investments, and operations. These risks, whether physical, like floods, or transitional, such regulatory changes and carbon pricing, can erode asset values, disrupt supply chain, increase credit risk, and in severe cases, challenge the solvency of financial institutions. However, addressing the climate risk and financing the green transition also presents opportunities, which we as a regulator are considering within our mandate and the strategic plan, including by the private sector, the financial sector, sorry. In Kosovo, bank lending remains a primary source of private sector financing in the absence of capital markets, while banks continue to support the economy, where over 85% of collected deposits are channeled into the economy through the lending. For this reason, CBK has taken several concrete steps in cooperation with international financial institutions, reflecting our commitment to a more sustainable financial sector. In December 2023, we have included climate risk management, ESG initiatives, and alternative source of transition finance in Central Bank of Kosovo Strategic Plan 2024-2028, particularly within the objectives 1, 2, and 5. Also in December 2023, the CBK officially became a member of Sustainable Banking and Finance Network, SBFN, supported by the IFC and the World Bank. This provides us an access to best international practices, advances trainings, and valuable tools for regulatory capacity building in this area. In April 2024, we issued the first guideline on reporting credit exposure by banks to companies exposed to transition costs, especially in the context of the implementation of EU Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, CBAM. This is an important step to begin systematically collecting data on transition risks and raising institutional awareness, which are deriving from the IMF program.
Thank you. Dear distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my dear co-panelists, first of all, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be with you this morning. When I was given this possibility to participate at the forum, I didn't hesitate a minute to seize this opportunity to address you, but also to hear of developments in Kosovo and the opportunities that the sustainability agenda presents. As you explained, I'm leading the team of colleagues, very dedicated colleagues who are working day and sometimes night to support Kosovo and other Western Balkan partners on their path towards the EU accession. It is a very multi-dimensional work, multi-dimensional path, but the issues related to sustainability, the decarbonization, energy transition play a key role on that path. Not only because, and I was very impressed by the commitments I heard in the opening speeches on how Kosovo embraces the EU sustainability agenda. It's a very motivational element to hear that as a newly appointed head of unit for working on Kosovo's EU path, but also because it creates tremendous economic opportunities. Opportunities for investment, but also opportunities for putting Kosovo's economy and the whole social fabric on a sustainable footing, looking into the future. So it's very motivational and very refreshing, and very glad to be here and to listen to this debate. You will have maybe understood very quickly that I'm not an expert on energy transition and the related issues. Our work is more global and multidimensional. But I wanted to, indeed, as my introductory remarks, to say a few words about how the EU accession framework, the cooperation, the space for cooperation that we try to create with us, the EU, but also within the Western Balkan regions, how it influences and creates opportunities for fostering and driving forward these sustainability policies. First of all, I would like to clarify the two key dimensions of this work. On one hand, the fact that there is an existing policy with quite a developed acquis of rules and processes that have been set out for driving us all towards this objective of carbon neutrality is a tremendous opportunity for our partners because they have something to align with. You do not need to reinvent the wheel.
2023 and 2024, we had several schemes rolled out to support SMEs. In November 2023, we launched our first public call for subsidies or grants for SMEs for the installation of energy efficient equipment. This was for heating equipment. A total of 99 businesses benefited from a scheme with a support amount of roughly 40,000 euros. Then in February 2024, we had a second call for photovoltaic systems to generate electricity for self-consumption. And the number of businesses that benefited was 51, with a financial allocation of roughly 224,000 euros. Finally, we had a third call for SMEs to install solar thermal systems for sanitary hot water. And this was also successful. Now we are rolling out a new scheme. We're drafting a comprehensive subsidy scheme for businesses for clean energy and energy efficiency. We are working with key stakeholders, with the Kosovo Investment and Enterprise Support Agency, and with external partners such as Luxembourg Development Agency, and we have a budget set up for the scheme, which will, like the Prime Minister said, focus on renewable energy sources and energy efficiency. Concurrently, we have the Kosovo Investment and Enterprise Support Agency, KESA, increase a budget for grants that are provided for SMEs to purchase machinery and upgrade their equipment overall. Now they have a 5 million grant scheme that will support businesses, but what we are doing here is highlighting the importance of energy efficiency. So we want businesses to invest, upgrade their systems, but make sure that they have a means to reduce their demand for energy and keep expenses at a reasonable level. But let us not get ahead of ourselves. We're not necessarily a financial institution here. We have other sources. We are primarily a policymaker. And the focus is on providing the necessary legislation and framework for businesses to thrive. So we have our first law on renewable energy sources adopted, and rules to promote prosumers to make sure that they can actually rely on their own production and then feed the excess energy back to the grid.